Hello, and welcome back to the second episode of New Game Junk, or as I'm calling it, New Game Junk 2, Electric Boogaloo. Yes, I know. So if you haven't seen this little side series before, it's basically just game pickups. I have been on a bit of a spree this month. Though, to be fair, yesterday was my birthday, so I'd kind of just trimmed the fat down a bit. I'm sure none of you are interested to know I got stuff like, I don't know, Chef's Love Shack on the Nintendo 64, because why would you be? I've picked out just some of the stuff that I thought would be more interesting and stuff that means more to me. Most of it is from my birthday or limited run stuff. So, yeah, let's get started. First up, we have Star Wars Rebel Assault for the Sega Saturn, or Sega CD, more accurately. Ooh, that is not a good sound. That's probably fine. But I may have to switch that over to the back, actually. So, I picked this up a couple weeks ago when I found out I had a new job. Very exciting. Yeah, there we go. That's better. Yep, that was the case breaking. That's always what you want to hear when you open something for the first time. But yeah, I picked that up. It's kind of been on my back burner of things to get for a while for the Sega CD. There aren't many games on that system I'm super fussed about getting. I mean, I picked up Sonic CD about 10 years ago, so it doesn't really bother me if I really have anything else for it. But yeah, this was a game I've had on my radar. It's Star Wars. I mean, why wouldn't you pick it up? Unless it's Kinect Star Wars. Keeping on the Sega track, though, these first two Mega Drive games, rather, were birthday presents from my family, which is very, very nice of them. We got Shining Force 1. Not Shining into Darkness. That is the first game in the series, technically, I think. This was the first in the kind of Shining Force sort of spin-off, and that's the second. If you know me at all, I'm a big turn-based strategy fan, and I'm a big tactical RPG fan as well. So kind of getting these two was kind of a clincher. I'm still meaning to get Shining Force 3 on the Saturn, but that game is very expensive. So, to be honest with you, I'm probably just going to get the repro, as horrible as that is. But yeah, thank you to my family for that. Big fan of those. We'll get round to playing them. It's only been a week. It's only been a week. But yeah, just very cool games. Very cool games. Very happy with it. Big fan, big fan. Moving on. This was also from my sister. It's Crack Out for the NES. So, I did pick up a NES this month, but I'm reserving that for another video. She picked this up for me. It comes in like the little plastic hanger thing that you'd see in like a Toys R Us way back in the day, which was extremely cool. It is open, which is fine. Doesn't bother me at all. Doesn't bother me in the slightest. Just means I can actually play the game without having to worry about opening the fricking thing. But it's in really good condition, considering it's going to be coming up to 40 years old. A lot of these games are going to be coming up to 40 years old, which is horrifying. Speaking of horrifying in terms of age, a common theme for my birthday, as I'm sure a lot of my family will complain about, Beyblade. I was a big Beyblade fan at the beginning of the turn of the century. And you know what? I still am. I haven't watched or played it in a donkey's age, but there's just something kind of fun about ludicrously over-the-top anime about spinning tops. Yeah. I don't know. A game like... I like the GameCube. I'll probably do a GameCube video down the line. I've got it on my list of things to do. I think coming up... I've also got that... I know I have that Steel Battalion video to do, and I will. It's just... That's taking a bit more time than I thought it would, because it's a slightly bigger project. But that's another day. getting back to it, I personally picked up Red Faction Guerrilla Remastered. I had the original on 360, so I picked up this one because it has all of the DLC, including my absolute favourite one, the Marauder DLC, because it gives you big old stabby mechs that look like they walked off the set of Mad Max, and what's not to like about that? Okay. This was a nightmare to get. This was an absolute freaking nightmare to get. I pre-ordered Sonic Origins Plus back in April. It was back in April now. And I was sat there going, it's the Friday it's supposed to be here. Where's that? Where is my game? And you know what? It had been stuck in the post office for about a week until it finally arrived on Thursday after a good deal of complaining from myself to the post office. Because when you pre-order something, you expect it to be there in a timely fashion, and I never pre-order anything. It's partly, this is kind of the reason why I don't. That being said, this is a pretty solid collection. If you were to ask me what the best collection of Mega Drive and Game Gear games is, probably this. They changed just enough to make it fresh. Adding in Amy was interesting, but definitely welcome. I wasn't the biggest fan of Sonic Mania. At the time, I was more into 3D Sonic. I still definitely am more into 3D Sonic. I will be doing a massive Sonic collection video. It's probably the single largest collection of games for a single series I have. I've got quite a good number of them, and I will be getting more because that Sonic Superstars thing looks freaking cool. It is a good time to be a Sonic fan. But moving on. Right, this next lot is kind of a mixture of games from my wife, games from myself, and games from my wife's nan, which was very nice of her. She gave me some money and I bought a game with it, which was Super Bomberman R. Now, I've read about this game. I've played it around a few friends' places. I know the second one is out later this year, so I thought it'd be a really good time to just kind of jump on the bandwagon and remind everybody how absolutely terrible at Super Bomberman I actually am. So thank you to my wife's nan. Very good game. Big fan of that. These next two were presents to myself because I have a problem. No Man's Sky for the Switch. I'll be honest with you, I'm startled with how well this runs. I'm genuinely startled by how well this runs. I was half expecting it to blow up every 30 seconds. But I got into a absolutely colossal fight with a bunch of enemies planet side. Because you fly around in space if you don't know anything about No Man's Sky. But if you've been on the internet since 2016, you know what No Man's Sky is. It's amazing how well this runs. Like, honestly, I bought it back on the PS4 very long time. Actually, around the time it came out, I bought it just as the Foundation update came out. And I was like, right, okay, step in the right direction. Looking good. Next few updates came out pretty quickly, made the game basically playable. Could have probably waited 6 months and it would have released fine. But this had 6 years worth of updates. Which, you know what? Worth getting it again. The other game is a game I have. However, I wanted it on a system I play more, and that is Bayonetta 2. I love the Bayonetta series. I've been following it since it came out in 2010. 13 years. Technically 14 because it came out in Japan first in 2009. I want to say October. I was a little more bothered by Brutal Legend around that time, and much to my dismay, Borderlands. But no, Bayonetta 2 is definitely my favourite in the series. 3 did a lot I didn't like. And none of it has to do with the voice actress. I think Jennifer Hale does a really good job, but I'm extremely biased because she voices Ophelia in Brutal Legend. Because big fan of Ophelia in Brutal Legend. But I quite like Jen's take on the voice, and I think Helena Taylor probably was lying about her initial claim on Bayonetta 3, but Bayonetta 2 remains my favourite, largely because she doesn't look like a giant schoolgirl running around in her tights. She actually looks somewhat sophisticated. But yeah, that was my presents to myself. These next batch are from my wife. My gorgeous, strange wife. First of all, she bought me Katamari Damacy. Or We Love Katamari. Sorry. Katamari Damacy was the Xbox release. We Love Katamari. Reroll and Royal Reverie. Weird game. Weird game. I've known about Katamari for a very long time. You just kind of roll around a big old ball. Gather up pens, clips, paper. Moving on to chairs, desks, people, houses, and then finally the solar system. And you know what? It's a lot of fun. It's just the controls are something to kind of wrap your head around a bit. But thank you for that, dear waifu. These next two were kind of like more limited releases in a series that I don't know a colossal amount about, but I like the artwork, especially on the more recent one. We have Mercenaries Wings, the False Phoenix, The False Phoenix, and Mercenaries Blaze, Dawn of the Twin Dragons. Again, two tactical RPGs. I like Triangle Strategy, I like Fire Emblem, Engage was terrible. And, you know, I really needed some new ones to kind of actually be playable and actually be interesting. I haven't got around to playing them yet, but I am really looking forward to it. Especially this one. I think this one will be a doozy. So big fan of that. Thank you to my wife for that. And finally, on the presents from her and the presents in general, I believe. Yep. The presents in general. Roomba First Blood. This is a game where you play as a Roomba and you kill people. It's kind of, what's it a prequel to? Justice Sucks Recharged, which, as far as I know, isn't out yet. I think that's out next year. What can I say about it? It's a lot of fun. It's short. You will finish this game in an hour. My wife bought it on the Switch and she'd finished it in like 2 sittings. Very quickly. But I kind of had to own it. It's quirky, it's weird, it's stupid, and quite frankly, if their follow-on game to this is half as fun as this. So yeah, that's everything from my wife and for my birthday. I do have the limited run stuff, which I'll get to in a minute, but big thank you to everybody for an extremely game-filled birthday. And to myself for adding games to that. Okay. So this is a mixture of limited run and... Ooh, what are they called? Special reserve. So starting off with limited run. Power Slave Exhumed. I had this game on... Ooh, where are you? On the Saturn. Back when I first got it in 2012. It was one of the 4 games it came with. Virtua Fighter 2... Oh no, Virtua Fighter 1. Virtua Fighter 1, not Virtua Fighter 2. Sega Rally Championship, Exhumed, and Crusader No Remorse. There might have been another one in there, but I think it was I bought Magic Carpet for myself because it was only £6 and I thought, why not? Exhumed is brilliant. It is absolutely freaking brilliant. This is 100% going on my top 5 of the year. Provided I can actually get through it, because I'm quite bad at these old school shooters. But this kind of arrived the same day as another game, which will not be going on my game of the year. Atari Mania. I like what Atari have been doing. I even bought an Atari VCS, and it's not bad. It's not bad. I like a lot of their more retro games, but this is really, really crap. It is really crap. It is miserable to play. It's grotesquely unfair. The difficulty curve is just literally all over the place because it's all randomized. It's just not fun. It's a miserable time, and quite frankly, it's going. Waste of money. Don't don't waste your time with it. If you like Atari and you like old Atari stuff, then get the 50 collection. It's got way more. It's basically a museum piece anyway, and it's just more interesting, and there's more games. So screw that one. Final two on the limited run batch. We have Full Throttle Remastered and Day of the Tentacle Remastered. I'm a big Tim Schafer fan, which should be a surprise to anybody who watched my first ever video on this channel. I like what he does. I like that this is very clearly a big inspiration for Brutal Legend, and I like that this was kind of the first major work that he did. I like that Double Fine got a hold of these bloody games and have re-released them for people to actually play on mediums that aren't freaking PC. Very happy to get those. I haven't got around to playing them yet, as with many games. Many games I haven't got around to playing yet, but I will, and I'm really looking forward to it. Moving on. Inscription. Now, I got this Monday, and I've beaten it. I've beaten it in about 3 sittings, and you know what? It's freaking worth it. And Casey's mod in particular adds so much to this. Adds so much to this game's replayability. It's kind of a roguelike tradable card game. Not quite tradable, obviously. My wife and I have been kind of obsessed with Inscription since it was first revealed in 2021. Or it might be very early 2022. We ended up making an entire set of Inscription cards, which is just absolutely bonkers. And we kind of have our own house rules on how we play it. There are obviously fan games out there, and it is obviously a 1v1 card game, as most card games are. But I can just show you a couple actually. Got this old ass box to put it in. London Gin. The rules. We even went out and bought a bunch of like card holders to make them a little more playable. Even got some really rustic ass looking dice for like yeah, just to make it more old school, make it feel like it was buried in an old ROM file from about 20-30 years ago. It's a lot of fun. I really enjoy Inscription. It's a fantastic game. At the moment, Game of the Year. Very easily. Game of the Year. Very easily my Game of the Year. Well, yeah. I think that might say a few things about my opinions on games this year, but I might cover that later on. There is one final game. And this was a freaking expensive one, but I own it. What Remains of Edith Finch. This is in fact, this was the first PS4 game I ever got digitally, and it means a lot. It resonates with me on a number of different levels. It's one of the first ones I ever talked about on a blog I used to run, which, if anyone's interested, I can link in the comments at some point or whatever. Doesn't really matter. But yeah, it's a good game. It's a solid game. It's absolutely fantastic. It's really just this and Firewatch that were the major kind of walking simulator releases I wanted to own. I do own Dear Esther, just because that game's very good as well. It's very poignant. But yeah, What Remains of Edith Finch kind of falls into that genre of games I enjoy. So yeah. Okay, guys, I think that'll do. That is my gaming pickups for June. I will probably follow this on. Maybe not next month. It'll probably be a bit more down the line because I'm trying to save up for stuff, and obviously we're getting towards Christmas when everything's going to be considerably more expensive. But yeah, let me know what you think. Let me know if there's anything that caught your eye, and let me know what games you've picked up recently. I'd love to hear about it. So thank you guys. That's me signing off.